Welcome back to another episode of the TNA podcast. You're listening to the TNA podcast.
Totally not appropriate.
We're your hosts, Taylor Sappington, a cosmic cartographer, medical astrologer, and herbalist decoding the intersection of soul, body, and belief.
And Adrian Irizarry, a psychoalchemist trained in East Asian medicine, vibrational healing, and the sacred science of your nervous system.
Together, we blend ancient tools, clinical wisdom, and unapologetic truth-telling.
From main events to metaphysics, tarot to tonics, karma to cancel culture, nothing is off limits and everything is on the table.
This space is for the boldly curious,
the ones who crave uncomfortable conversations, crave deeper insight, and are done pretending that they don't feel what they feel.
So turn it up,
tune in,
and don't say we didn't warn you.
Welcome to TNA.
You know, summer's right around the corner. At least for most of you, it's already summer in Florida. It's fucking disgusting here.
As I sit here in a sweater.
God, what I wouldn't
49 degrees.
And we need rain. We need rain so badly. Like,
girl, I have 49 in rain. I will send it to you. I am so over the amount of rain that we've had.
So parched down here that it's to the point, rain sticks. Did you have a rain stick when you were a kid? I'm like, we're going to go shake the rain stick. Like whatever we have to do. Or I'm going to go outside and imagine a storm rolling in because it's bad here. The Everglades are on fire again.
Oh, God.
And I get it. There's a lot of local Floridians that born and raised here, so I have to respect this, that are like, the Everglades absolutely burn every year. Like there's a natural process to it. Like the indigenous who used to hold the land would do controlled burns. There's purpose to it. But I don't know if all of this is that.
Well, I mean,
they're trying to put
horse here.
And they're trying to put data centers all over the place. So needless to say, we are parched and we are hot down here. Summer has arrived. It was a real feel of 100.
Yuck. Oh my gosh. And I was so excited that we hit the 60s yesterday and there was sunshine.
Yeah. We are real feel 100. We are like in the 90s, mid 90s most days. So yeah, it is definitely, Florida has just, I know May can be worse because we don't have our rainy season quite fully intact yet. We're just waiting for that to arrive. But before we hit record, we were getting ready to talk about how the metaphysical realm is an exclusive club, if you will. And I'm not saying that to sound like an asshole. Like, I think more of us would be welcome there than we realize, but it requires a certain curriculum. You have to take certain classes and pass certain tests. And I'm putting this in relatable language, right? In order to access the metaphysical realm in a way that is not convoluted. And what I mean by that is the majority of you, I am going to piss people off. Here we go. The majority of you who are going to tarot readers and who are doing plant medicine ceremonies and are, connecting with psychic mediums, do we all have those gifts aside from the plant medicine? Yes.
Yes. We do.
Yes. Should we be working with other people? I think it depends on the intention behind your session. Like getting a tarot reading is a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun, but I don't think most people are going to a tarot reader or a psychic medium for fun. They're going out of desperation. They're going out of, I don't know what the fuck is going on in my life. Please provide me with clarity. If you can't even find clarity in your own world, how is somebody else going to provide it to you? And to take it a step further, most people don't clear, grid, and connect in a clean way.
Yes. I think about that every time I see people who do them at stores.
Or on the fucking internet. Absolutely no fucking thank you.
Yep, because you're in a place that is saturated with other entry points for other kinds of energies, whether it's internet or it's in a store. Like, just think about, I'm going to reduce this very simply, but it's kind of like when you're in a room and somebody who's in a really grouchy mood walks into the room and you can feel that there's a grouchiness around you, but you're not quite sure who it is that's grouchy or if they're mad at you. Women are notorious for this. They're like, oh, are you mad at me? And like, no, they might not be mad at you. They might be frustrated with what happened at work, or they might be frustrated with an interaction with a child or with a friend or with a family member or something like that. And it has nothing to do with you. But the question that comes out of your mouth is, are you mad at me? Yeah. It's because we can feel things in the world around us in a non-touch point perceptible way.
Yep.
So now put that on top of some of these metaphysical tools, right? Like if you have somebody who is bringing their own bad day energy into the reading, or you're in an environment where you have other people's bad day energy around you, it's going to influence the reading. It's going to influence your energy in that alchemical container.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that. So like when I go to festivals or stores or things like that, like it's really hard in an environment like that to grid and protect energy appropriately. You have to have a really powerhouse reader. And even then, it is hard for them to hold that kind of a container.
And I don't know, like most of the reputable people that I work with at this point have no desire to put themselves in that position, myself included. That's why when people are like, why don't you do local like pop-ups or local meet and greets or local fairs, if you will? Because even with astrology requires a multitude of different tools, right? So when I'm working with somebody, I always ask their soul for permission. You've given me permission to interact with you by investing in my support, right? My services. But I want to talk to your soul too, right? And I don't claim to be able to channel things unless I'm connected to them. Like I also think this whole like so-and-so died and I connected with their soul. Get the fuck out of here. Put your dowsing rods down, Linda. Are you kidding me? The fuck? That's misleading, that's unethical, and you're probably fucking lying. What are you talking about? Okay, like you have to ask for permission. If you haven't asked for permission and gotten it explicitly on multiple levels, okay, you're probably not talking to the person you claim to be talking to. Because guess what? Most of the time, when you're ring, ring, I need to talk to somebody in the metaphysical realm, the people busy doing important shit or the entities that, busy keyword doing important shit are not waiting for the phone to ring. They're not like, yes, let's go give, Carly advice on her loser boyfriend. Who she already knows she needs to dump. She's just avoiding it because she's codependent and it's uncomfortable because it's going to create conflict. And she doesn't know who she is outside of the relationship. You know that. You don't need somebody to tell you that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had sessions where I've worked on
so guilty. Okay. Want to make sure I'm clear about this. Didn't mean to interrupt you. I am not judging you. I spent the larger part of my 20s. I was trained in Reiki, all 3 levels to a master degree. I know how to read tarot. I abandoned all of that shit when I became clinical and came back to it. But I have worked with many readers, intuitives, interpreters, seers, right? So it's not me going, tisk, tisk. It's me going, oh, I know from experience too. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was actually just going to jump into your needing soul's permission point, and that the powers that be are busy because, whenever I start a sound session with people, I always ask my higher guidance and their higher guidance to participate in this event. And I was shocked the first time I got a no.
But I love when they're that clear.
I was like, wow, how am I going to work on this person? So essentially, I kind of didn't.
It's like fine tuning surface things, right? Because sometimes you absolutely do get a no, right? Guys, some of the things that you're required to work on in this lifetime cannot be overridden and bypassed. You may feel like you can control every aspect and element of your existence. Let me tell you, you can't.
Control is an illusion.
It's a complete and utter illusion, right? And I think control and addiction can be a bit synonymous, right?
Yes.
But when we are so attached to modifying or understanding or knowing, every aspect of our participation. It's not even participatory at that point, like our place, in the world and where our foot is going to be placed next, right? That tells me you have massive fragmentation, right? That tells me that multiple pieces of you are existing in multiple parts of the multidimensional room. Yeah, that's a mouthful, right? And I'm sure some of your brains are like, what the fuck is she talking about? You're not just a physical body. You're not. Actually, largely, your existence outside of the physical is what influences the physical. The physical is the last thing to show all of the shit that you've accumulated in every other dimension. It is so. Let's reverse it. The physical is the last thing to catch up. That's why so many of you bitch when you're like, I've been doing this for 6 months. Yeah, bitch, your body is really dense. It is going to take her a little bit of time to catch up.
That is the hardest conversation that I have with people on a daily basis, because by the time people reach me, they want
You're desperate, and I get it.
And I witness that because I've been in that level of desperation too. So I'm not saying that I don't understand. I'm not saying I don't empathize, and I don't have immense compassion for where you're at by the time you reach my doorstep. But the hardest part of the conversation is always that this is not an Amazon Prime kind of fix. I did a podcast about this on my own show a little while ago because I get this so often. But the thing is there is nothing about this kind of work. If you really, truly want deep, meaningful, transformational change where you are sick of being sick, you are sick of being tired, you are sick of where you are currently existing, you have to be with the process. As I sit here coming out of an immense collapse quite recently.
It's collaboration, right?
It's hard.
It's hard until you get through the first few rungs of it.
Yes.
And then you recognize it's a lot harder to fight it.
Yes.
Right? So like it's hard in the beginning without a doubt.
Yes.
And for me, the word I would use now is uncomfortable. So it's not hard for me now, it's uncomfortable because there's a level of awareness where I'm like, I am totally going to sit in this. And I don't know how long I'm going to sit in this. But I am being asked to sit here. But what I do know is if I avoid this discomfort, the discomfort is going to grow. Okay, in intensity, and it's going to prolong the process. And I have prolonged enough processes in my life that I don't want to prolong the discomfort anymore.
Yes.
No, thank you. So it's much, quote unquote, easier or simpler. Simpler doesn't mean easier, right? But it's counterintuitive, right? We live in a world where it's like, no, you need to control this. You can't. Do you even control your respiration rate, most of you? I mean, that shit keeps you alive. Are you even paying attention to it? And you want to control the process of you coming out of decades, probably, of dysfunction and trauma and entanglement. And I'm going to keep using the words so they're familiar to you. Fragmentation. You want to create wholeness in multiple bodies that are not whole. That's going to take time. And the last place you're going to see that really come to fruition is in this environment.
It is a hard concept for people to wrap their brain around. And, a lot of times
we're transactional. It's like A plus B equals C. That's not how the world works.
Well, A plus B equals C in a world where you go to a doctor, you get a pill for a symptom, and then it mutes the body's expression of that symptom because it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't heal anything, right? But because you're no longer, quote unquote, suffering with whatever the symptom is, you think that now you've resolved the problem. No, you've just put a mute button on it so you don't have to listen to it anymore. And that continues to compound in the background.
I'm giggling because it's like the steroid cream, right? Like we can put steroid cream, which by the way, if you're not familiar with like steroid withdrawal, topically, it's fucking awful. Okay. But like we can put steroid cream on a rash, you know, and like say if it's poison ivy, please calamine lotion by all means. Like we need to do something about that so you don't scratch it. Fucking awful.
Yep.
You know, there is a time and a place for the utilization of these things. Steroid and calamine lotion for something like sumac or oak. But when we're talking about like psoriasis or eczema or hives, like chronic hives, and your primary means is topical steroids, well, guess what? The body eventually goes, okay, you clearly haven't heard me, so I'm going to turn the volume up. And instead of giving you a rash that's a 7, I'm now going to give you a rash that's a 17. And your steroid cream is not going to override this, right? Like that's just how this works. But what's the origin of the rash? The steroid cream is never going to tell you what the origin of the rash is. And then they're going to say idiopathic most of the time. Do you know what the approach in the ER is? If it's wet, dry it. If it's dry, wet it. When it comes to rashes. How sophisticated. How fucking sophisticated. Instead of like, let's culture it, let's send it out, let's see what it's actually composed of, because the culture is going to give us specifications. Specification is going to give us a better idea of what's going on in the ecosystem. And then what's going on in the ecosystem is going to tie us into the multiple bodies that are contributing to the presentation in physical form. Oh, and that rash didn't show up overnight. It showed up through every suppressed feeling. It showed up with every overridden emotion. It showed up with every choice that you knew. This is not me saying like you can't have something fun to eat. It's like the chronic YOLO, don't you want to feel good?
Yeah.
Not like YOLO, I'll just drudge my way through it. Human psychology in this world is fascinating to me. I'm like, we'd all rather temporarily suffer, you know, for an immediate dopamine hit, only to continue to suffer for like tens of thousands of moments continued throughout our lifetime, instead of being like suffer, I put in quotation marks, for 6 months. I'm going to be uncomfortable. Let's use that word, for 6 months, but I'm going to spend 60 years feeling good.
Yeah. Just looking at my journey to my son, like there were a lot of pieces of me that had to go to die in order to step into the alignment to be able to welcome his soul into his body. And this is probably the hardest. If people ignore it, if they decide that they want to have a baby, that's when they come face to face with it and they can't ignore it anymore. And if you are somebody who has chosen not to have children, you can ignore it until you get to perimenopause, and then you can't ignore it anymore.
It'll show up in another form of creation for you. It'll show up in work or like a creative passion. So if you're choosing to forego children, it's going to find another way to creatively birth itself in your life.
Yeah. And being out of integrity, right? Being out of alignment, being out of right relationship, you have it show up and manifest itself in all kinds of ways. My daughter's eczema started to flare about a year ago. And the first patch that appeared was right over her throat. And I just looked right at her and I said, so where are you suppressing your voice? Where are you not comfortable saying something? And she looked at me like a deer in headlights. Her eyes got so big. And I said, I want you to really think about that. Where are you shoving your voice down and not allowing it to be heard? And she didn't say anything. Okay. So my daughter's an early teen and she didn't say anything. And then a couple days later, she came to me and she started explaining how she felt like she couldn't voice certain things in a certain context.
Yeah.
And I said, this is why this started here. And what can we do about that? How can you feel more comfortable expressing yourself in this environment? What kinds of things do you need to say? What kind of expectations do you need to set? You know, that kind of thing. And she just was like, okay. So then the teen kicked in, right? And she was totally skeptical. And she's just like, okay, mom, whatever, right? Well, then she started, like, I could see it. She would start saying some of these things. She expressed her opinion with a little less of a filter. God love my Aries rising, right? So she, you know, she started like being a little bit more straightforward about what was actually going on in her head. And that patch right there started to dissipate.
It's like
the intensity of the red came out.
Yeah, it's like Sydney rashes, right? And like at first it was like, is it mast cell? Is it mold? Let's throw all the labels at it, you know? And we did holistic, we did integrative. Like, hello, I'm his mom. Can I say like, he's gonna get it all.
Right.
And finally, it's like, that's a boundary by your body. every time you spend too much time on that video game of yours or in front of an electronic, guess what blows up? His hands. They get itchy, they get red, and they get swollen. Do I really want to turn that off? No, sure don't. Because he's 11 and he has no other boundaries in the world. So this is how he's going to learn. Nothing has worked.
Yep.
Nothing. So call me crazy. I just think your systems are your body's way of implementing the boundary that you've overridden time and time again. And when we started talking about tarot and psychic mediums, and obviously psychic/mediums, one, the other, or both. And I think people feel like they can be powerful because well-intended, good professionals in this space, they do exist, right? So I want to make sure that I acknowledge and honor them. I've worked with them. They speak to a part of us that wants meaning, or that wants reassurance, or that is looking for direction. And that's not bad and that's not wrong. I think it's very human nature. Humans like certainty. So even if the certainty is fucked up, they'll maintain it. It is certain that I'm going to feel like shit when I do this, but at least I know the outcome. It is certain that I'm going to hate this job, but I'm going to keep going into it because I know I'm going to get a paycheck, right? It is certain that I will continue to attract the wrong people to work with, but at least I know they'll be coming and I'll be getting money in the account. Like, we will maintain a certain fucked up environment and override an unknown, challenging, changing environment that could be way better for us because it lacks certainty. So I think when it comes to working with tarot or psychics or mediums, we have got to encourage mindfulness, because this is a space that can blur the line between insight and influence really quickly.
And I see it online all the time.
And you're vulnerable. Let's face it, vulnerable, grieving, anxious, at a crossroad in life. Wouldn't it be more valuable to connect with somebody who could walk you through the process of plugging back into yourself?
Because when you plug back into yourself, you realize, oh, all this shit's already on board.
The answer's there.
Yeah.
It's like having curtains, like, let's pull back one curtain, let's pull back. It's a process to learn how to do this, you know, and it's important to have people who are grounded and based and capable of clearly holding this space for you, you know, like, of not getting sucked into your urgency and your emotion. That's really important, you know, but I think it's really important to seek out people that are going to plug you back into you instead of having you plug into them.
Yes. And that is where I feel like my work in cycle alchemy really shines as a completely different way of working with the body because of that exact thing. I'm essentially teaching you how to come home to yourself.
Yeah.
And get acquainted with where are we creating our own roadblocks that are showing up as a physical expression of health. And, you know, I remember years and years and years ago, this is like, I don't know, I was on the really early stages. So remember how Taylor was talking about, like, there's certain quote unquote courses you have to take in order to get to where you are.
The curriculum of life.
Yes. Very early stages of this curriculum. I remember going into a crystals shop, and the owner of that shop is
I won't go in those anymore.
I can't go in those anymore, but the owner is a very gifted person, and she has actually become a very incredible spiritual mentor of mine. But I walked in there anyway, and I can't remember what brought me in there. But at one point, I remember saying in the course of the conversation that I wish that I had gifts like hers, because I connected with it and I had immense respect for it. And she laughed and she looked at me and she goes, "You're one of the most gifted claircognizants I've ever seen." And I just looked at her and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she could see it. Apparently, there's a look that I get on my face when I'm having a download come through. And because it was so close to my normal stream of thought, I had no clue that it was coming from something outside of myself. And she helped me to see that and to develop a relationship with those gifts. But we all have that on board inside. Like, I was admiring her ability to fluidly do this. And I didn't even realize, because nobody had ever reflected back to me, that it was happening within me already.
You know,
We all have it.
Yes. It's so interesting too, because like I'm smiling because I feel like I'm very similar to you, where people are like, you don't see yourself the way that I see you. And I'm like, no, sometimes I wish I could put your glasses on and understand what you see.
Oh,
Like
for me.
really, I do. Like, it's so true. We don't see ourselves like other people see us. It would be nice sometimes to be like, what do you see? It might give me some like insight, but like, I've obviously been training, for lack of a better word, educating myself, a student in a quantum program for the last 8 months. And it's really just reconnecting me to all the pieces that actually exist inside of me. And I think most of us, because I've experienced this, are terrified of our own power.
Mm-hmm.
The more I recognize what I am actually capable of, the more I'm like, I can do that. I can see that. I can support that.
Mm-hmm.
With proper permission and support from those that I need it, I can shift that, right?
Yes.
But you also become highly aware of the rules of engagement.
Yes.
There are rules of engagement in this world, and most of us are not playing by the rules of engagement. Mm-hmm. We are essentially selling our souls for a short-term outcome, lacking the longevity and the perspective of, I am energy, babe. You are energy. We are not created, nor are we destroyed. We're going to move on from one shape to another. Do you not think that we're going to carry some of that with us? Some of what we didn't complete, some of the things that we aren't so proud of, some of the components that, weren't addressed, that were asked to be addressed in this lifetime. Do you think that they're not going to go with us? The last thing I want to do at this point in my life is carry things that I was asked to come here to address. Oh, P.S. Your birth chart lays this every single thing that I'm talking about out. Every single thing. North node, south node, MC, right? Wheel of Fortune, vertex, sun, moon, rising. They tell a story. Mm-hmm. They tell this whole story, right? And I know there's a lot of information about astrology out there. I love these videos when it's like, you want to get rich, but you're not getting rich because it is so much more complex than that. And also, like, how do we define rich? In this universe, we define it as enormous amounts of cash on hand. But the word rich transcends dimensions, okay? Like in other realms, it's time. It's space, it's peace, it's tangible resources that are helpful. Money can change, but my ability to grow my own food and know how to do that, that's going to transcend all of the changes, right? So like getting really, really, really clear on how we define these certain things. But I think when you're hungry for certainty, it's easy to outsource your decision making. And a reading, so guilty of this, can become a crutch. Where you stop trusting your own intuition. I have had readers say things to me and I'm like, that doesn't feel right. Are you sure? No, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. And sure enough, I was on point. They were not on point. Like again, life constantly trying to go, you got this, you got this, you got this, right? But like we can stop trusting our own intuition, our own data, our own timing, right? Instead of, this helped me reflect, it becomes tell me what to do.
Yeah, you're outsourcing your own power.
That's terrifying. I mean, I've done it, and like the more you do that, the more you outsource your power. Hello, medical field. Like how many of us feel comfortable making decisions and advocating for our body? Or how uncomfortable do we feel saying no to a doctor? How many of us get sweaty palms, and heart palpitations and like, holy shit, how are they going to respond? Like they're going to judge me. Like, yeah, they're probably going to judge you, but do you really fucking care?
I have the worst case of white coat syndrome.
I get it.
Because I'm like, cool, how are they going to tell me that this doesn't fit their standard? What are they going to try to peddle and push on me because they don't understand the bigger picture? Like, I have the privilege of working with some allopathically trained practitioners.
They're not all bad.
In my practitioners program. And, to see their minds open up and go, wow, I really have outsourced my power and my authority. And I really have bypassed how my body's been speaking for years and years and years. And I really have, fill in the blank, like I've lost years of my life trying to perfect this craft only to realize that it really isn't serving the highest and best good. And then like the moral piece, right? Like I'm so grateful that I have had the opportunity to work with some of these people who are realizing that there is actually more beyond just labs and physical body symptoms and, what is actually driving the bus for all of that. And that they're coming to people like me to learn more. I love that because the body, like Taylor said, it's like a delayed reaction, right? Like all the things that come before it, your body, it shows up in the physical after that. And it takes time to unwind. Like I abused my body for years. I turned off my connection with my intuition. I outsourced my power for decades. Yep. And then decided that I wanted to have this very rich little human come into my body. Now seeing who came through me, I realized like I really needed to up level in a lot of ways in order to be able to hold his frequency, in order to be able to birth him into this world. There's a reason why this journey took so long, because Adrienne had to not only unfuck her body, but she had to get her energetics in alignment so that she could bring this soul through into the world. So like people who try to push this journey and force this journey, like there is a piece of coming into right relationship that has to happen. And then the physical follows that.
In all aspects, not just pregnancy and resolving autoimmunity and, you know, finding yourself in work that genuinely, I think most people would shit themselves to come to learn that in order to find yourself in a place where you are actually in alignment with the work that you're doing, you have to let a lot go. Many more parts of you have to die. Okay. And even that's going to lag. So the 3D that exists around us, the bills, the this, the that, you know, I have had many months where I'm like, I am not betraying myself. So let's see what you got. I'm following your lead. I'm not betraying myself. Let's see what you got. I'm following your lead. I trust that you're going to take care of me. Like time and time again, because I did the whole, I'm betraying myself. I'm going to go push. I'm good at that. Like the blueprint's there. It's well worn. I've done it enough times, but it's interesting what happens when you start making the shift to, I'm not betraying myself, right? I'm going to trust that you have it figured out. Show me what you got. Trust that you're supporting me. And then you try to go back to the control piece of like, I'm just going to go make it happen myself.
It doesn't work.
There's a wall. It's almost like the well-worn path has been filled in by concrete. You have been called on your bullshit.
I have had that happen. I can name the junctures in my life where that has happened.
But eventually you get to this point where your nervous system unwinds enough that it goes, I see what's happening here. Like time is such an illusion. You know what I mean? Like it really is, you know, a lot of the time, I should say things take more time than we would like them to, but like really it's a blip on the radar when you reflect on it. It's interesting to watch, but I think that's another piece when it comes to going to a psychic or a medium or a tarot reader with this whole like free will component too. You know, I have a very complicated relationship with regulations and industry regulations because there's a part of me that's like, yes, good. And then there's a part of me that's like, gag order, no, you know, like I kind of live in the middle. Some regulations for the greater good of humanity and acknowledging ethics. But I had this conversation with my son this morning and I was like, let me give you an example because we were talking about people and defining good versus bad. I'm like, 98% of people would agree that killing somebody is bad, right? And I was like, what do you think? And he was like thinking, and he was like, well, what are the circumstances? And I'm like, fuck, I'm doing a good job. He's 11 and he's asking really fucking good questions. Like, you way to fucking go, kid. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's a really poignant question, right? Because circumstances matter. You know, this is such a complex conversation, right? But like, it's all when it comes to regulations and when it comes to determining what's good and what's bad, I think that it's much more complex than we've made it today.
Yes.
So I get that this industry is unregulated, but I think a lot of the people that would stand up and go, I'm happy to be regulated, don't have anywhere to go. Like I'm one of them. I'm happy to be regulated so long as the regulations allow me to participate in my work in an ethical way on all dimensions. Period. You know, so I think we do have to be mindful when we're connecting with somebody in this particular space. There's going to be a variety. It's like going to a buffet. How long has that shit been sitting on the table? What's the temperature? How many people have come across and dug out of that? You know, like versus, oh, like that was just put out 2 minutes ago. I think I'm going to go there. You know, like quality, time, temperature, etc. I think we have to be mindful of who we're choosing to connect with and really sit with our intention. There are genuinely ethical practitioners, and there are also people who are careless and overly confident and manipulative, I think is a big one. And sometimes intentionally
Oh, you mean like intuitive coaches that use sex to sell? You mean like that?
Or, like this whole, like, I get it. Marketing psychology is all about capitalizing, I fucking hate that word, on people's vulnerability. I think that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
That gives me the visceral heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
And to you listening, are you going to pay attention to me if I'm not speaking to a pain point of yours? Like, I think we all have to take a peek at our psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Am I so inclined to pay attention if somebody's speaking to my pain point that I miss really valuable information, insight, and connection if it doesn't associate with some form of pain that I'm learning through? We are all participating in one big collective trauma bond over everything.
Mm-hmm.
It is a consciousness we are all plugged into. They're called egregores. Welcome to it. But you can unplug yourself from that. It just takes time. See the key theme here?
Mm-hmm.
Effort, intention. But manipulative in the way that, like, how do readers make their money? Somebody has to be sitting in their chair. Ethical readers do very well for themselves. And I'm so happy for that. Ethical herbalists do really well for themselves. I'm so happy for that, right? You talk to most of them, they're like, yeah, it was a 15-year overnight success. It's not.
Yeah, it's not quick.
I had to be in alignment. I had to get the right people in my door. I mean, sorry, not sorry. I don't want to work with all of you. You're not all my people.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good fit. If that hurts your feelings, good. I mean that in the most loving way possible. So, like, I think it's really important. I would rather somebody be like, I don't think we're a good fit. I'm always going to be kind about it. You and I are on different pages than being like, yeah, I'll take your money and I'll talk about you behind your back, because I've had readers do that too. I've been to one where like 3 or 4 of my girlfriends are all going to the same one, and she's talking to me about so-and-so. And I'm like, I'm sorry. If you're talking to me about her, that means you're probably talking about me to that. No, we're done.
Yeah.
That's unethical. But like also, things like curses and hexes and black magic, or defining definitively that somebody is cheating, or you're going to get a divorce, or, you must pay me to remove this energy. Like, that should exist too. So, and everybody has their own sense of truth. So we have to remember that too.
And a lot of these things we already know deep down.
100%.
It's like my favorite statement, I don't know. People say I don't know as filler words for I'm not comfortable with, more often than not, I'm not comfortable with the truth of
Or
what
I'm
I
being
know.
Or I'm being put on the spot and I'm freezing. So give me a minute. I gotta go find what you're asking for from me.
Yep. But sometimes that freeze is triggered by the knowing.
It can be. And sometimes it's in there somewhere, but I'm being put on the spot.
Yep. Yep.
Like, I think I've experienced both of those where like, oh my God, am I going to admit this out loud to a person? Like, because once I admit it out loud to a person, I then have to do something about it because I've acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Where if I don't acknowledge it, it's just dirt under the rug. But we all know how that goes. You've swept enough under the rug. You don't have a fucking area rug anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You have a floating carpet. I think it's also self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like if somebody tells you you're blocked or it won't work, something along those lines, you might unconsciously play smaller if somebody tells you something is guaranteed. Nothing in life is guaranteed. Your paycheck, right? Your lights being turned on. Sorry, that's just a stark reality that we live in. But the only way that we can live in the reality where everything is guaranteed is to also acknowledge that in an alternate reality, nothing is guaranteed. They have got to coexist amongst and next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Duality has to exist. Just like, I believe in a higher power. That higher power I believe to be a consciousness within all of us. That doesn't mean that I disrespect your belief in God and religion.
Mm-hmm.
You get to do that. And I can like you as a human and I can see and respect your beliefs. I just hold a different subset of beliefs, and that's okay. That's the whole point of participating in this world as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important to remember that like people could ignore elements of practicality in their life or bypass warning signs if you're being told by someone else that something is coming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do this for business. My business is not doing well. So they go find a psychic. When is business going to pick up? When is it going to get better? Babe, when you respond to the calling of whatever is sitting in front of you, are you supposed to be doing what you're doing? Do you need to change what you're doing? Do you need to look at pricing structure? Do you need to pivot your messaging? Do you need to be supporting someone else? Do you need to shut it all down and go back to the workforce? I know, but like some people this is not their calling. It's just not, So like, what are you doing to change your reality? It's co-collaboration, not sit and wait for it to come to me, So I think it's really important to remember that like intention behind working with these individuals, these practitioners who are capable of walking between worlds. There's a degree of ethics that has to come with it. And you have to remember, if you've agreed to walk between worlds, what school and lessons were you willing to go through in order to tap into that? You done?
Yeah, I feel pretty complete.
Okay. I think it's important to remember boundaries too. Like mediumship and grief work in particular can be really tender. Really tender. So when someone claims to speak for the dead, it can be like really comforting, but it can also create dependency or distort the grief and grief process that someone is, navigating. So I think it's important to maintain agency if you're going to connect with somebody over that. But this isn't don't engage. This is be mindful of your engagement.
And use discernment.
Yeah. A good reading should leave you feeling, or a good session, I should say, should leave you feeling, clear and empowered and responsible for your own choices, not scared, pressured, or hooked.
And dependent upon.
Yeah. I mean, again, revolving door. Like I personally look at tarot as a mirror. Like I look at astrology as a mirror. Tarot comes from, the major arcana comes from the zodiac. So, like tarot as a mirror, not a map, I should say. Astrology is the map, tarot is the mirror. I would never make big decisions based on only a reading, just saying. And I would avoid anybody who uses fear, urgency, or exclusivity. Only I can help you.
Yep.
Any other criteria you would put out there?
You just know, right? Like women have this ability to just know, and they don't know how they know. They just know, right?
Yeah.
You just know when you connect with people. You just know when something feels right in your system. Like that is whether you're working with somebody who works in the energetic realm or somebody who works even in the traditional realm. You go to the doctor and they give you an answer. I can't tell you the number of people who come into my office and they're like, well, they said this, but I don't know. I don't know how I know, but I just don't feel like that's right. Or I want a second opinion because something about it doesn't feel right. Right. So your body never lies to you. Your intuition never lies to you.
It knows nothing but how to tell the truth. Like that's it. It knows nothing but truth.
And because of that, we so often bypass that knowing because either we think it's going to put us in an uncomfortable position or we don't like the answer that's being reflected back to us or whatever. But the only thing that will never, ever lie to you is your intuition
and your body. And intuition is not fear or urgency based. That's the difference. Like, when we're asking intuitive versus fear, like I know that question comes up a lot. Like intuition is calm and it doesn't explain itself and it doesn't create panic and it's just a knowing. This is how we used to survive. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the fact that it doesn't explain is irritating because you're looking for a why, right? Or an explanation or next steps or something. But, we're trying to find a house right now. I literally said this to my husband. I was like, we put an offer in on a house that we were really excited about. The answer was no. I cried about it. My husband was very frustrated. And he was like, well, we'll just keep looking, like maybe if we did this or if we did this, like they would have accepted our offer. And I was like, we just have to trust that what is meant for us is going to happen and it's going to be easy. It's going to just flow. Our house is going to go under contract. That house is going to go under contract and it's just going to happen.
The only way that it can work.
Right. And when you are trying to force something and it is uncomfortable and no matter what you do, it doesn't ever seem to change. When you check in with that voice, will be like, no, babe, it's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that. That's not supposed to be your house.
That when they want something, like I get it. I'm in a reorientation in my business. I've been in a reorientation since, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. February was a year of closing tailored well-being. I would love to see things get a little bit busier. And at the same time, when I sit with myself and I get very honest, do I have the capacity to hold the amount of space and time that I used to hold? No. Do I have a desire to do that? No. I don't, right? I think I love connecting with people over their charts, and I would love for it to be a longer term thing. One session is great, but like what you do in the month, 2 months, 3 months after is really going to make all the difference. And most people don't follow through. So then what? Then it's just a reading.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What did you do with it? Most people can't guarantee that they're going to do basic self-care habits on a day-to-day basis. And I'm working with people, I'm wanting them to do these simple, not so easy things to change their life. I mean, it can literally change your life, just like the work that you do, literally change your life. And most people are unwilling to commit to one small thing a day, you know, that's required of them. Like, again, YOLO, we live in a world where it's like, you only live once. Okay, yeah. Cool, great. But like those small decisions, if they're really out of alignment, compound over time. And then you show up in my office 10 years later, 20 pounds overweight, completely fucking depressed, right? In a relationship that doesn't fucking serve you, on medications that were never meant to address anything. And you're going, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, sure, we could figure it out. How many times did you override your own inner knowing in order to get the thing in the moment?
Yep. Your inner knowing, it never lies to you.
No. What is that, Taylor? Just get quiet for long enough. Put your fucking phone down, turn your fucking radio off, sit somewhere, let the birds talk to you, right? Like, it's so cool to have a connection with yourself, because once you open that up and it's like, oh, she's here now. She's locked in. She's good for it. The things that are shared with you are just life-changing.
I know that there is somebody listening to this going, I don't have time for that. I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to challenge that, right?
Like, going to be diplomatic about it, and I'm going to roll my eyes at you.
No, I'm not going to be diplomatic. I'm going to say you have to wash dishes, right? Like,
or you want
washing dishes,
yeah,
vacuuming the floor, switching laundry. Like, okay, your body can be in motion doing something. It's what you're doing in your brain. Are you allowing your brain to get quiet? Are you trying to fill it with constant stimulation? It drives me crazy when I see all of these teenagers walking around with fucking earbuds in their head. And it's like, no, it's because you are not allowing yourself to like get in contact with you. So like, yes, that whole Zen Buddha on a rock thing like sounds really great, but for most of us, we can't do that. But it doesn't mean you can't be in walking meditation. It does not mean
water your garden or your plants. Like, that's my time to do it. Like, I go outside immediately after getting the dogs taken care of in the morning, and I water, and that's my time to go like, okay, I'm here. Like, what do we, and sometimes there's no chatting. It's just like, I just need to sit with you in the frequency of what this is.
Yeah.
So can you be quiet with me?
For me, I have put my hands over my heart, and I start the morning with a check-in. How do I feel today?
Yeah.
You know, what do I need to know today? And I just allow myself to be quiet for a few minutes. But, you know, washing dishes, being really intentional about that.
Hungry.
You feel the water between your fingers. You feel the plate under your fingers. Like, there is an intentionality there where you can allow yourself to empty out. I do this a lot chopping vegetables.
Yeah.
I know that sounds totally wild. My husband is like, why do you want to spend time doing that when we can get it pre-chopped? And I'm like, because there is a rhythm to it. And there is a meditative flow that I get into while doing it. That not only does it save us money, but like there's this piece that just, I enter this flow-like state. The kids will actually scare me if they're coming up behind me in the kitchen, because I just get into an alternate place while I'm doing it. So we all have day-to-day activities that we do that allow us to get into that place. But it's you being intentional about allowing yourself to go to that place instead of listening to an audiobook while you're chopping vegetables. Or, I mean, we want you to listen to our podcast. Then we want you to go outside and sit on your front steps for a few minutes. Or we want you to go for a walk and just...
I think people need to be mindful. Do you need to intake? Like, this is a conversation. So like, sure, we're teaching you, but at the same time, we're inviting you to plug back into you. We have an excessive consumption problem in this world, in this particular, country, where people are constantly wanting to learn more about what? About what? How's that going to impact and improve your life? Are you actually going to take what you're listening to and implement it? 99% of you know. Again, sorry, not sorry. There are podcasts that I listen to where I'm like, that was nice, and also a waste of my fucking hour and a half. Like, I'm not going to do anything with it. moving on. So like, can I also be intentional about the voices that are coming through my headphones? What do I actually want to engage in? What's actually going to change my perspective and my participation in this world? You know? So we started off with Tarot. It all came back to like connecting with yourself, right? And it's really like Uranus is in Gemini for the next 7 years. Don't know if you've recognized this, but the world's a little inflamed right now. People are a little inflamed right now.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
We have multiple planetary transits that are going to continue to add to this element. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. Polarization, right? That's going to continue to amplify. The noise is going to continue to get louder and amplify. Your job, if you want to navigate this with your sanity intact, is to turn the channels off. How many fucking dials can you turn down? How many channels can you turn off? It's like going into a Best Buy and all the TVs are on. So fucking obnoxious. How many TVs can you turn off? Versus the ones that you intentionally want to keep on. Curate your mental space. Curate your emotional space. Curate your energetic garden. The physical will take care of itself when you do that. But if you want to make it through these next 7 years, you got to understand Uranus is unpredictable. It's inflammatory, okay? And it's in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. This is all about communication. So now I know when, you know, Chad, who's 40 and has nothing better to do but leave hate comments, right, comes onto our page and leaves some rude fucking feedback. Okay, dude, they love it when you pay attention to them. When you don't, it's like a flaccid pee-pee. Go take that flaccid thing somewhere else, okay?
It's so true.
Let's just face it, guys. You get off on making rude comments. That's pretty. You should go look at that.
Yeah, exactly. You should go look at that. I always tell my kids when, you know, because the older kids are in their teen years and they're dealing with that shit all the time. And so I say things to them like, so what if that comment wasn't actually about you, but a reflection of their home environment, how they feel about themselves, all that kind of stuff. And I get eye rolls. And then later on, no, I think they get it now because I just don't think that they like that mom is making sense to them. Because, you know, I'm the stupidest person in the room right now. But I think that it makes a difference, though, because then I will hear them say things back to me like, I feel really bad for because they said thus and so to somebody else. That must mean they're really unhappy. And they will say stuff like that. And I was like, yes, score 1 for the mom team. Like, so it is getting in, even though, again, mom is, when you're a teenager, is the dumbest person in the room. And I've really had a hard time, like, accepting that.
I'm so dumb. I don't know how to cook and clean either. So you better take care of it for yourself. Like, that's the point that I'm at. Like, I'm like, well, I'm so dumb. I don't know how to put that shit away. You better figure it out. Sorry. I'm dumb.
Ugh, I need to get to a little more of that point. But, you know, it's nice being able to see that they are starting to hear the message, because if they do, maybe other people will, right? And you model that behavior.
The world. That's one person at a time within the 4 walls of your home. We have been talking about this every episode since the inception of this podcast. You change the world by changing what happens in between your ears and within the 4 walls of your home.
Yep.
I have now blown past my own boundary. Shocker. So I was supposed to get off like I locked the door so nobody could get in the room today. So, but on that note, is there anything else you'd leave people with, Adrienne?
Most of our issues come down to trust.
Yep.
Trust in ourselves, trust in what we hear within ourselves, and trust in our abilities. And you are worthy. You are enough. And you are beautiful just the way that you are.
Just the way you Sorry.
It's true. It's true. I almost sang it, but she didn't instead. So, you know, but it's true. Like, we hold an immense amount of power within ourselves, and we don't trust that. And our inability to trust our body really is the root of health issues, emotional issues, attraction issues, and everything else. So taking time to get quiet and get acquainted with this voice inside of you, this gut knowing that we refer to, is really the first step in your health journey. And then if you are looking for help, Taylor and I are here to help you get more acquainted in a deeper way with
very different personalities. So, pick your poison. We get along really well, and I think have very similar like objectives in our own support. We just go about it a little different. There's a lot of overlap, but as you can see, I cuss like a sailor.
And I cuss too. I swear for emphasis and clarity. Come on now.
Okay, well, truck driver, not. Okay, we'll just go there. Okay, like, I think, but either way, you're going to get the support that you're really looking for, or I go at through the lens of, astrology, and astrology is a quantum language. So the quantum is part of my work. I weave it in, and then herbalism. And then obviously Adrienne uses alchemy through the cycle and the body, what else? And, frequency. Vibration with acutonic. So this is where medicine's going. We're just a little ahead of the game, and that's fine. That's fine.
As always, I'm always ahead.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. It's giving me time. Like I said, I'm starting to enjoy the fact that my world is not being shared with 50 other people. Not that I didn't enjoy that chapter of my life, but it's intentionally being shared with a handful who are really there for the work. And I'm like, this is fucking badass. This is how it should be. The better it gets, the better it gets. Everything will catch up the way that it's supposed to. So, all right, on that note, I'm sweating because it's hot. It's not even fucking June in Florida. Until next time, guys, stay well.